Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. The voice that redefined leader Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau, 1925 to 2012, is widely regarded as one of the greatest baritones of the 20th century, a towering figure whose artistry reshaped the interpretation of German leader and influenced generations of singers. His unique blend of vocal precision, emotional depth, and intellectual insight made him a defining presence on the concert stage and in the recording studio for more than 5 decades. Early life and musical foundations. Born in Berlin, Fischer-Dieskau showed early musical promise. He began singing as a child and developed a passion for poetry and literature that would later define his interpretation of art songs. His early career was interrupted by World War II. Drafted into the German army, he spent time as a prisoner of war. Even in captivity, he continued to sing for fellow prisoners, an experience that strengthened his connection to music's emotional and humanistic power. After the war, he quickly emerged as one of the most exciting new voices in European classical music. His debut performances in the late 1940s immediately signaled the arrival of an extraordinary talent. Master of Lieder. Fischer-Dieskau's name is almost synonymous with Lieder, the German art song tradition. No other singer has left such a monumental impact on this repertoire. His interpretations of Schubert, Schumann, Brahms, Wolf, and Mahler became benchmarks for musical expression. A revolutionary approach, he brought a new philosophy to Lieder performance, text first. He approached each poem as literature, emphasizing clarity and nuance. Coloristic vocal technique. Instead of relying solely on power, he used delicate shading and controlled dynamics. Psychological depth. He treated each song as a dramatic monologue, exploring the inner world of its narrator. His recordings of Schubert's Winterreise, Die Schönmüllerin, and Schwanengesang, many made with renowned pianist Gerald Mohr, remain among the most admired in classical music history. Opera career and stage presence. Though best known for Lieder, Fischer-Dieskau also had a distinguished operatic career. He performed at major opera houses worldwide, including the Vienna State Opera, Bavarian State Opera, and Covent Garden. His roles included Wolfram in Wagner's Tannhäuser Amfortas, in Parsifal Count Almaviva, in Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni, numerous roles in operas by Verdi, Richard Strauss, and contemporary composers. On stage, he was admired for his refined musicality and introspective intensity. Unlike many operatic stars of his era, he focused less on theatrical spectacle and more on character psychology, offering subtle but profoundly moving performances. A prolific recording artist, Fischer-Dieskau's discography is immense. Over 500 recordings, covering Lieder, operas, choral works, and orchestral songs. His partnership with pianists such as Gerald Mohr, Daniel Barenboim, and Georg Demis yielded interpretations still considered definitive. He also championed lesser-known composers, expanding public awareness of Hugo Wolf, Hans Pfitzner, and Othmar Schoch. Teacher, conductor, and writer. After retiring from the stage, Fischer-Dieskau became a respected teacher and conductor. He guided young singers with the same attention to detail that characterized his own career. A passionate thinker, he wrote extensively on music, including books on Schubert, German poetry, and vocal technique. His writings reveal a deep philosophical engagement with the connection between sound, language, and emotion. Legacy and influence. Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau's legacy is unparalleled. Critics, musicians, and audiences alike often refer to him as the greatest Lieder singer of the century, a poet of the voice, the baritone who changed everything. His interpretations continue to shape teaching, performance practice, and scholarship in classical music. Young singers study his recordings not simply for technique, but for the lessons they offer in storytelling, emotional truth, and artistic integrity. Why he endures. Fischer-Dieskau's artistry endures because it transcended vocal beauty. He brought intelligence, sensitivity, humanity, a deep respect for poetry and music. In doing so, he elevated the role of the singer from performer to interpreter, someone who reveals the soul of a song. Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. A deeper look into his life, artistry, and enduring impact. Early musical development and influences. As a teenager in Berlin, Fischer-Dieskau was deeply influenced by the city's rich cultural environment. He was drawn not only to music but also to literature and philosophy, an intellectual foundation that would later become central to his interpretive style. Among his early inspirations were Heinrich Heine and Eduard Morik, whose poems he would later interpret with unrivaled sensitivity. Recordings of legendary singers like Heinrich Schlüssness and Alexander Kipnis. The writings of Goethe, whose aesthetics shaped his understanding of German art. At age 16, he began formal training with the famous voice teacher Georg Walter, who helped shape his foundational technique. Even then, his teachers noted his extraordinary natural ability to communicate emotion through nuance rather than power. The post-war breakthrough Germany in the late 1940s was marked by hardship and reconstruction. When Fischer-Dieskau returned from captivity in 1947, he immediately stepped into a world hungry for healing, and music provided exactly that. His post-war debut at the Titania Palast in Berlin, singing Brahms's German Requiem, was met with admiration for his luminous tone and interpretive maturity far beyond his years. Just 1 year later, he replaced an ill singer in a performance of Mahler's Lieder eines fahrenden Gesellen, a turning point that launched him into international recognition. Interpretive philosophy. The art behind the voice. Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau wasn't just a great singer, he was a thinker. Critics often described him as the intellectual baritone because he approached each performance like a philosophical inquiry. 1. The unity of word and tone. He believed the text was the soul of the piece. The word must always lead the tone. This belief required immaculate diction, not only clarity but emotional truthfulness. He explored every nuance of meaning, even down to individual consonants. 2. The search for psychological realism. He approached many songs like monologues in a play. For example, in Winterreise, he conveyed the narrator's descent into existential despair with chilling intimacy. In Schumann's Dichterliebe, he used subtle vocal colors to depict emotional transformation, from joy to disillusionment. 3. Microdynamics and color. He was famous for his exquisite control. Infinitesimal pianissimos, whispered lines, sudden flashes of intensity. This dynamic palette gave even familiar Lieder new emotional dimensions. Collaborations with legendary pianists. Fischer-Dieskau's partnerships with pianists were central to his artistry. Gerald Moore. Their collaboration remains one of the greatest in classical music history. Moore perfectly complemented Fischer-Dieskau's introspective style, creating performances of Die Schöne Müllerin, Winterreise, Dichterliebe. These recordings are considered definitive. Daniel Barenboim. With Barenboim, the interpretation moved toward deeper drama and philosophical weight, particularly in Schubert and Beethoven cycles. Georg Demas and Alfred Brendel. These pianists brought clarity and textual sensitivity, helping Fischer-Dieskau further refine the emotional architecture of each song. Champion of modern and overlooked repertoire. Fischer-Dieskau was not only an advocate for the German Romantic tradition, he also promoted contemporary works, revived forgotten composers, embraced bold musical challenges. He premiered works by Benjamin Britten, Hans Werner Henze, and Aribert Reimann. His advocacy for Hugo Wolf, once considered obscure, played a major role in restoring Woolf's reputation as one of the great masters of lieder. Opera roles. A dramatic interior world. Though not a flamboyant stage actor, Fischer-Dieskau brought an unprecedented internal intensity to opera. Some of his most admired roles include Wagner's Wolfram, Tannhauser. His O du Meinholder Abendstern became iconic for its serenity and beauty. Mozart's Count Almaviva. He portrayed the Count with aristocratic authority and subtle psychological shading. Verdi's Rigoletto. While not a typical Verdi baritone, he brought profound emotional complexity to the tragic jester. Richard Strauss roles. He excelled in Strauss's lush, intricate scoring, especially in Ariadne auf Naxos and Capriccio. His operatic interpretations were often described as spoken in music, a testament to his devotion to language and meaning. Teacher, mentor, and author. After retiring from full-time performance, Fischer-Dieskau turned to teaching. His masterclasses became legendary for their rigor and insight. He pushed students to think not only about vocal technique but about psychology of characters, architecture of phrases, emotional honesty, the intersection of poetry and music. He also wrote extensively, producing influential books such as About the Art of Singing, Schubert's Songs, a biographical study, a memoir offering reflections on war, life, and music. Awards and honors. Throughout his career, Fischer-Dieskau received numerous accolades, including the Order of Merit of the Federal Republic of Germany, the Ernst von Siemens Music Prize, multiple Grammy Awards, honorary doctorates from universities around the world. These honors reflected not only his impact as a performer but his contributions as a musical thinker. A lasting legacy. More than a decade after his death, Fischer-Dieskau's legacy remains deeply present in classical music. His recordings continue to teach, inspire, and challenge both musicians and listeners. His influence can be seen in modern lieder interpretation, vocal pedagogy, the resurgence of art song recitals, scholarship on Schubert, and the Romantic era. Young baritones often measure their own artistic progress against his standard, while music lovers return to his vast discography for its unmatched emotional richness. Why Fischer-Dieskau still matters. Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau's legacy endures because he demonstrated that singing is not merely about vocal beauty, it is about meaning. He embraced vulnerability, intellect, and emotional truth. He offered the world something rare, a voice that thinks.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.